Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician, and today we're going to be going into the Harbor Freight website and checking out some of the new tools that they got going on. So if you guys follow the channel, you guys might know that I try to do these every 3 weeks or so, and we just go over any new tools released since the previous video. If you guys check out the Harbor Freight website, at the top of the list will be the newest items released, usually, and the further you go on down the list, the older they get. I don't know how long they keep them on there for, but if you go far enough, it gets pretty far back. First up, we have the Hercules 12-gallon OSHA-compliant dust extractor. Now, it does look like you could use this as a shop vac as well, or a vacuum. Not sure how it does with wet, but it is $400. Honestly, I don't know. I don't use a dust extractor, so I don't know if this is a good deal or not. But it does have variable speed for depending on what tool you're using this with. See it a little bit better. There's the variable speed there. It does come with nice assortment of accessories as well. There you can see all of that. Some good hose length. There it looks like you can actually run a tool off of this as well. There you have the switch. So it's got a dolly back, so you got a couple wheels and a pull-up handle. It's pretty good size as well. I get, most people are going to be using this in like construction sites and stuff like that, so it does have to be quite large if you're doing quite a bit of work. But honestly, this isn't something that I would use, not something I have experience with. The information over here: 6.5 peak horsepower motor, powerful suction, 24-foot cord with 17-foot anti-static hose, telescoping handle. Power tool mode clears remaining debris in the hose for 10 seconds after it's being turned off. So it does have one review, 5 stars, $400 for this. So if you guys have any experience with items like this, please let me know your guys' thoughts on it. Then they did release a replacement filter for it. A couple more Braun lights released. Harbor Freight is really pumping out these Braun lights like nobody's business. You got a 1400 lumen hands-free rechargeable headlamp for $35 and a 400 lumen rechargeable pen light with UV light. So if you do any leak tests and stuff like that, having a UV light is nice. 400 lumens isn't bad for a little pocket pen light. It is rechargeable and it does have a magnetic base, so $25 for that one. I believe they have one or two other ones with the UV light as well. Fiberglass work gloves for $8. They have a new 20-volt brushless cordless drywall screw gun, the tool only, for $70. And then they've released some Hercules step bits. I use step bits pretty often. I use it on thin sheet metal. I buy the cheap ones from Harbor Freight, and honestly they last me a long time. So depending on how much you use them and what material you use them on could vary with your experience with them, but I've had really good experiences with them. But this 2-piece set is $40. It's a cobalt step drill bit, a couple different sizes there. One is 12 steps and one is 8 steps. It states it gets 3 times faster hole cuts and 4 times longer life with the cobalt alloy step bits. This is quite a big price jump from some of their other step bits. 3/16 to 1 1/8 bronze oxide finish keeps the bits cooler, prevents rust, and lasts longer. Now, I don't know if I'll ever be buying this $40 set, because some step bits outside of Harbor Freight, good quality step bits, can get quite expensive. This is up there for a Harbor Freight step bit for sure, but you could get some pretty good performance out of this. We'll see. I'll go over more of that here in just 1 minute. Central Machinery 110-pound pressurized abrasive blaster for $170. They have a new U.S. General mobile service tray cart for $100. These are great depending on what type of work you do. I used to have one of these. I used it for a year or two, and it was great for what I needed it for when I was working out of my van doing mobile work. These are mass produced by like a bunch of different brands out there. You can find these all over Amazon. They're going to range anywhere from like about this price to $200. Some of them not this exact design. Some of them do get a little bit nicer, but for a simple service tray, I wouldn't spend over like $130. At that point, you might as well just get a service cart. You can usually get those for around $200-300. So I wouldn't be paying $200 or $300 for a service tray. So I think this is a good deal at $100. It does have one drawer included with it. You get a little bit of assortment area up here. This is exactly how mine was laid out as well. And then you got some holes on the back side for screwdrivers. There you can see the dimensions of the top tray. It does have little plastic or rubberized corners to prevent you from doing as much damage if you run into something, because some of them do just have the metal corners and you can really do some damage if you bump into a vehicle or anything like that. It is nice. This one has a little pass-through for pneumatic tools. I'm sure the drawer is nothing to write home about, but it is nice if you need that little bit of storage. Maybe you just want to throw your wallet, phone, and keys in there while you work. I think for a simple little service tray, $100 isn't bad at all. Another Braun 450 lumen rechargeable pen light. This one is $20. Then they have the Icon professional master ball joint press. Pretty good assortment here. I want to say they just released another one not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago as well. So it's nice that they're expanding more and more into some of these kind of specialty tools, and this can definitely be a fantastic tool. You can definitely get better deals outside of this for some decent quality ones, but you don't want to go too cheap on these, because then you just end up spending money on something that ends up irritating your soul. So finding that happy medium, unless you're like in the professional field, then obviously you're going to want to look for something that's going to hold up to the abuse, which the cheaper ones will not. This one doesn't seem too bad. It seems really well built. The main thing on these are how the threads hold up. A lot of pullers, the cheaper pullers, the threads give out and end up causing problems, whether that be pulley pullers or, you know, this style of pullers in general, where you have this threaded shaft to apply pressure. That is normally the wear point on a lot of them. And then I've seen some that crack the ends off and stuff like that. So this one seems to be pretty heavy duty. Obviously, just from looking at it, we'll have to wait and see, but it does have 5 stars at 4 reviews right now, still being a fairly new product. There you can see a little bit of information there if you would like to pause and take a look at that. Then they have the Quinn 3/4 inch extendable ratchet. We've seen the extendable ratchet there at Harbor Freight for quite a while. Now they've got a 3/4 inch. I don't personally use any 3/4 inch tools, but if you do, I mean, let me know your thoughts on it. I was never a fan of an extendable wrench or ratchet, unless for me where I could see it being really useful is a roadside emergency bag or like a junkyard bag, where you could carry less by having a ratchet that you could really apply some torque on a roadside emergency or a junkyard situation. But on a daily use thing, I'm not all about that extendable ratchet life. So that's just my thoughts on them. But $70 for this 3/4 inch. It does have 5 stars with 2 reviews. Here they have a Warrior 0.9 amp 2-inch mini cutoff saw. I did not see this earlier. What are you using this for? Balsa wood, I guess. Creating mini dowels, little copper pipe. I don't know. $38 for that guy right there. Usually Warrior tools, I don't think many of them are worth purchasing. A lot of people are already going to Harbor Freight for finding a good deal or getting something cheaper. I don't think it's necessary to go that cheap. At that point, you might as well just use a normal hacksaw for whatever you need. We were going over those step bits earlier. This is one of them out of that set. This is the 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch, and this is the one that the size step bit that I use primarily on a regular basis. And at $23, I think I might pick this one up just to see how it holds up compared to the very, very cheap one that I usually buy. I think in the last 4 years, I've went through 2 or 3 of the cheap ones. So like I said, light, thin sheet metal work, but I use it weekly, and I'm surprised, pretty easy to sharpen up, but eventually they do just kind of get worn out. So I think I'm just gonna pick this up just to see how it does, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts on it. Then they've got some more Viking products here. Now, I've mentioned the Viking products in the past in some of my videos, and it seems to be hit or miss. I don't have any personal experience, I don't believe. I've used quite a few different jump packs in the past. I don't think I've ever used the Viking stuff, but it seems to be really hit or miss when it comes to this stuff. After discussing it with some of my viewers in the past, it just seems like some people have had really good experiences with it, and then some people just absolutely hate this stuff. So I don't really know what to think about it. I've probably owned 4 or 5 no-name jump packs in the past, and I purchased the NOCO probably about a year ago, one of the NOCO jump packs, and that thing is fantastic. I don't know if I'll ever go away from that, even if this one ever takes a dump on me, I'll probably just pick up another one. The Noco is definitely very impressive. But yeah, a couple more products from Viking. Banks 18 gauge 2-in-1 brad nailer for $30. The Bauer 20 volt cordless leaf blower for $100, which isn't bad with the battery. 338 CFM, 5 amp hour battery, and 1.7 amp charger. But down here they actually have the Bauer 20 volt 6 tool kit with a 3 amp hour battery and a 1.5 amp hour battery and charger. I don't think this is a bad deal at all. If you're maybe getting into or looking for a little tool set, I personally, like, even if this was a fantastic deal, I stick to the 2 tool brands that I use, and I don't go outside of that. I don't want to own any more chargers or worry about any more batteries for different tools than I have to. So I'm one person that you won't see buying one of every brand tool out there just to see how they are. I just stick with the 2 brands I use, and that's what I use. But I think this is a pretty good deal, $200. I don't really care when they throw in these little lights. I guess this one's a little bit better than some of the big name brand tool companies throw in just this big bulky 13 lumen flashlight that I'll literally never use. But this one doesn't seem too bad. It's got a hook on it. It's rotatable. It doesn't seem too terrible. A circular saw, oscillating multi-tool, low impact driver, drill, and the leaf blower that we were looking at earlier. I don't think that's a bad deal at all, especially when they sell the leaf blower with the battery and stuff for, what was it, $100? So let me know your guys' thoughts on this 6-piece set. Then they have the Banks 3-in-1 brad finish nailer at $80. The other one we were looking at was $30 for the 18 gauge 2-in-1. Then they have a cable splicing kit. These are pretty common in quite a few brands. You can get something very, very similar. $15 isn't too bad. Then they have the Hercules 20 volt brushless cordless 10-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw for $330. Now this is a brushless cordless 10-inch, so that's kind of why the price is a little bit higher. I don't think that's a bad price at all for this. I mean, name brand ones, you're looking at least this price, probably for a corded one. It all depends on how much work you can really get out of it, but I like the design. I like where they're going with the Hercules and Bauer lineup. I love to see them expanding on those brands, and there's just a little bit of information if you guys would like to pause and read that. It does state that for maximum performance, use 2 20-volt batteries, 5 amp hour or greater. So I mean, not only are you in this for $330, but if you don't have a couple of those larger amp hour batteries, it's going to cost you as well. But I like its overall design. There you can see batteries there where they mount. Looks like a compact little design as well. I didn't see, maybe you guys did, how long it would last on 2 of those 5 amp hour batteries. It'll be interesting to see as it grows in time. Right now it does have 5 stars with 5 reviews, and here are some of their other options that they have, their Bauer versions over here. I don't think those prices are too bad. Folding side tray, now available in purple, which I like to see. I'm actually a big fan. There are 3 colors that I really enjoy in these toolbox lineups, and that is slate gray, the purple, and the white. I don't think you understand how every time I see something for these 5 drawers, I don't have the room for them or the need for them, but it makes me want to buy all 3 of them. That's one thing I've successfully fought the urge on over the years, though. I can't say I win most of those urges because I buy a lot of stuff that I could probably do without, but that I've successfully passed on somehow. They got the Icon 3/8 drive oil filter sockets, the 7-piece set for $40. This isn't bad. It's not great. You can get this same oil filter socket set from 15 different brands on Amazon. You can get some cheaper ones, and sets like this will range anywhere from $18 to $50, and I think mine's from OEM Tools. I can't remember, but same set, same sizes. Most of the time you're not putting a whole lot of torque on these. They're to remove caps for the oil cartridges. Usually a whole lot of torque isn't going into them. There are some really, really cheap ones where you basically have pressed steel sockets. Those ones are definitely on the cheaper end, but you usually get a wider variety. These are, more of your socket design, just a much lower profile, and it's for removing those cartridge styles. And these are, a lot of the times they're plastic caps. Sometimes they are metal, but a lot of the times they're plastic. Wouldn't worry about damaging them or anything like that. So $40 isn't terrible. It's not great. You can find them from many other brands that are around the same price, sometimes even cheaper. They have the Bauer 12 amp hour high capacity lithium ion battery for $135. I don't think that's a bad price. I don't know the durability on these. Once again, this has 5 stars at 8 ratings. I don't think that's a bad price for this battery. I don't know the longevity of the Bauer batteries, but if you were to look at a 12 amp hour battery of any other brand, it's going to be up there. Then they have the pressure washer stubby spray gun. These things are fantastic if you pressure wash, your sidewalks, deck, patio, anything like that, siding, or you detail your cars. Having something like this over your OEM long plastic spray gun that usually comes with those pressure washers, these are fantastic. Now, there are cheap ones out there and there are good ones out there. I have a Chemical Guys one and an MTM. If you know anything about detailing or these pressure washer stubby guns, MTM is like top of the line, and they can get quite expensive. I think the one I got, it wasn't even the top of the line one. It was like $80, and you can tell a huge difference from that to my Chemical Guys one, and the OEM one that came with my pressure washer. After holding that trigger for a while, your hand will get tired. Even though it's not a lot of pressure. But when you get a good spray gun, you can tell a huge difference. I could hold my MTM all day without a problem. Chemical Guys one, not so much. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit bulkier. Still much better than the factory one, but it is cool to see this. This is almost like a knockoff imitation of the MTM, and I'm kind of excited to go in and get my hands on this to see how the trigger feels on it. Looks like the build quality is fine. Looks like it's got some stainless steel hardware on it, kind of cut down on that corrosion and buildup. Let's see. Works with gas and pressure washers up to 5,000 psi, premium brass and stainless steel. So you still have the brass tips, which sometimes you'll get corrosion buildup in the tips. Usually not too bad. Down here at the base is stainless steel, but I may pick up one of these and tear it down and compare it to my MTM just to see. So $25, I don't think that's a bad deal at all, but once again, I'm going to go in and get my hands on it right now. It has almost 5 stars at 74 ratings, so it's been around for a little bit while now, probably shortly after we went over the last video. Then we got the Bauer 4.5 inch circular saw. I think we might have went over that in the previous video. I'm not sure. This is the tool only for $60 at 37 reviews with almost 5 stars as well. And yeah, I want to say that's where we were at when we started the previous video. I know we went over a couple of McGraw products. So that is it for the new tools at Harbor Freight. Quite a bit since we did our last video. Definitely some interesting items. Not a whole lot of mechanical hand tools, things like that. But definitely some interesting stuff. Let me know your guys' thoughts on some of these down in the comments, or if you've picked any of these items up, let me know your experiences with them. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to smash that thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.